Hey Christine, had to check out your video. You're always giving me some great feedback, and I enjoyed one of your other videos, so I had to go ahead and check it out. And first thing, I'll give you the good old generic, great job. But seriously, you did a great job. I think you do probably one of the best jobs in class of actually, say, teaching the lesson instead of just explaining the lesson. I have a really hard time doing that myself without, being in front of a classroom and having kids. I can kind of anticipate how they're going to react, but it's just simply tough for me. You do a really good job of just teaching it. So I write down a couple notes as I read through. First and foremost, you hit on all skills all the way across, which I think is great. You even wrapped it up with a great writing lesson, which I'll hint on later on, my thoughts on that one. First thing I like you doing, because I teach 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, some lower levels, and the very first thing you said was that you used it last semester with some younger guys, well, in a younger class, and you gave some hints on there and how you gave the jobs different cute little names, and I think the way that you can adapt it to a lower level is really good as well. You gave all the students a job and a purpose. It's a purpose for reading, which I think is really important, even if the only purpose to that reading is to fulfill the job that their teacher asked them to do. So I think that's really good, that's encouraging. And then before you mentioned it, I'm thinking, I said, oh Lord, you try to anticipate questions that are going to be asked by kids. Well, I'm in a behavior classroom, so I'm saying, oh Lord, the kids are going to start fighting over what jobs they get to do. But then as soon as I had that thought, you said, look, everyone gets to do all the jobs and they take turns rotating around, which I think is really good as well. I like the predictor, the weatherman. I wrote a little joke that I really lost my calling, should have been a weatherman. It's 50-50 shot, it's either gonna rain or not, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. You do a great job at modeling all these skills as you're going through and explain them. One of the examples I really liked was that you were reading with your playful banter, which is great. I mean, kids do that from a very young age all the way up. They're always janking on each other, and goofing around and busting chops on everything. So when you read like that, I think that's good in making one of those kind of personal connections from the reader, the students, and the story that they're getting into, which is really good. You always mention this is what good readers do, and I think you mentioned that in the summary, where you gave they monitor their reading, and you gave the hall monitor analogy, which is really good, because trying to remember back. Oh, that was a really critical point in the story that you were saying. You said, you definitely have to monitor your reading, because if you don't understand what's going on at this point, there's a problem. You have to continuously monitor your understanding and your comprehension throughout everything. And again, you did a really great job at not monitoring. I'm getting all messed up now. Modeling that with your own readings and thinking aloud in your thought process. Again, like I said, you hit on a lot of different skills and a lot of different, say, mini strategies within your big strategy, which I think is really great, such as the read aloud, think aloud part. So again, it was a great job. I loved how you gave the students some support to begin with. You gave them their cards, you gave them their worksheet to assist them and kind of, just give them a little something to fall back on and provide a little bit of clarity. I think that's important. I think that's really good. But then in the next breath, I just love the idea of, I'm giving that to them right now, because pretty soon they're going to work on this without that support. They're going to work supporting each other and leaning on each other to do a big project on the butcher paper, and then they get to present it to the class, and then you go into having this lead up to a writing activity. Just all great across the board. And I think the last thing that I wrote on here was you mentioned how this is going to lead into a reading activity, which I think is awesome, and because they have to apply this, you know, what they're learning into that writing lesson. But my last note, and I'll write it off because I get sidetracked all the time, and is I always think it's great. You know, again, I teach in behavior class, but even without being in behavior class, I always love when you can teach a life lesson within an academic lesson. And the one that you had there was when they have to write up their tribute. You can see that one of two ways. Either one, having them, you know, kind of get in touch with their feelings and understand, you know, how important their friends are, what makes a good friend a good friend, and on the other side where they could write a tribute to someone they lost. You know, I mean, that could be a huge part of the healing process at that age too, where, you know, you got a lot of thoughts that are confusing anyhow. So again, you touched on a life lesson attached to a wonderful academic lesson. Another great video. Thanks for all your kind comments every week, and I'll be sure to, you know, tune into the Christine channel again. Another good lesson. Keep it up.